and wanted equality and rights. Now you'll have to work to survive just like men. Y'all brought this on yourself. Incredible point. You really are a visionary. I do want to discuss this though because it's something that I see a lot, and you've activated my trap card. I want you to imagine labour, as in work, not the physical process that somebody went through in order to end up with you. For the purposes of this discussion, we're going to split labour into two categories: compensated, uncompensated, recognised, unrecognised, valued, devalued. In this category, we're going to put employment. Now I know what you're thinking. A lot of forms of employment are underpaid, under-recognised and undervalued, and I completely agree. But for the purposes of this discussion, this is where we're putting employment, that form of labour. Here is where we're putting all the other forms of labour. Domestic labour, things like childcare, cleaning, cooking, community care, looking after each other. Which category is more valuable to you, to your family, to society? And I know what you're thinking, this can't happen without the financial income from this. But I would argue that this can't happen without the incredible support that this provides. A worker needs to eat. A worker should have a clean, sanitary space to live in. A worker cannot bring children into the working environment, so somebody else has to look after them. So this, in a very real way, cannot happen without the support of this. It's also not exclusively ever been men doing this and women doing this. That is oversimplified and ahistorical. Women have always participated in the workforce in different ways, in different cultures, at different times. And in our modern world, very seldom is there a hard division between employment and domestic labour. For example, I go to my work, I come home, I have to do the cooking, I have to do the cleaning, I have to put the washings on, I have to do so much in the house. Equally, my partner goes to work and he comes home and he has to do the washings and he has to do the cleaning and he has to do the cooking. We split it equally. In your household it might look different. One person might take on the bulk of childcare and cooking and cleaning, and someone else might earn more or work more. It just depends on what works for your circumstances. But that does not mean that one form of labour is worth more than another. That kind of thinking is how you get into the mindset of not all jobs deserve to be a living wage because we've devalued the labour of making coffee, serving food, all the jobs that we societally have been conditioned to look down on. Now, we can't say that society always devalues domestic labour because there are circumstances where there is financial value placed on this labour. For example, if you hire a cleaner, if you hire a cook, if you hire somebody to look after your children, you're going to pay them money. So there is financial value to that labour. Now, I'm not saying it's enough. I'm not saying we value that form of work enough, but I am saying there are situations where that work is given financial compensation. Where am I going with all this? I see your frustration. Perhaps you feel undervalued. Perhaps you feel that the labour that you're putting in is just not getting the compensation that it deserves. And I hear you. I hear you. But what I'm saying is, don't direct that frustration towards women because they're in the same position you are. Direct that frustration towards the people who have all the wealth, have all the compensation that they could ever need, and instead of choosing to sort of distribute that and fairly structure their businesses and fairly structure the sort of wealth distribution at their company, they're choosing to hoard that and to make sure that their workers, the people who are generating the wealth, are fighting amongst each other about things like gender. We are in a sinking boat together and we're trying to scoop water out of it. Don't take away my bucket. Let's go and talk to the guy who's drilling holes in the bottom of the boat. I hope that made sense.